It's your favorite super duper mother daughter duo coming to you with all the positive vibes and helping you become exactly who you want to be. We're giving out all the good stuff on this podcast, and it's your host Takoa and Nasara.
Welcome everybody. It's tea time. I'm Nasara.
And I'm Takoa.
Today we're going to talk about generational curse.
Yes, so I'm going to go into a little bit about what a generational curse is. I actually looked it up on the internet to see if I can get like a Webster definition. And you know what? We can't, because it's not a scientific term. It originated in biblical terms. So it's actually a spiritual battle that's well known in the spiritual world, but it's not really recognized by science. I'm sure psychologists go over it, but it's not something that's, recognized and talked about in psychology. So what a generational curse is, and I'll give you the world definition, I won't go into the biblical definition, is basically something that's passed down from your family onto you from generation to generation. So it's in your DNA, it's embedded in your core, it's just naturally pops up to be who you are, and it's something that you internally have to battle with, and you didn't sign up for it. You don't know where it came from. You don't know why. It could be something as simple as always being late. It passes on from what you saw through observational learning or from what you gained through your parents' genetics and DNA. And I don't even like to call it generational curses because it sounds like something that's embedded and that you'll never shake off. I rather call it like a generational baggage. It's something that you're carrying with you, passed on from your ancestors, but you do have the opportunity to leave that bag right where you got it, right?
Right.
Yes. So you can get into what it is exactly what it is for you, and what do we do? What do we do next now that we know about it?
Okay, so after researching, some of the things that I ran up upon was sort of an outline on certain things that we could do to sort of work through this process and overcoming this. Because we are overcomers, we can overcome this, but it takes your will, it takes you wanting and acknowledging what you're supposed to do. So let me read this real quick, okay? So one of the ways is recognizing, acknowledging, and that you have a generational curse, acknowledging that there is a problem, and when you do that, one of the things you need to do is by reflecting, looking at your family, looking at yourself and seeing what it is that you do that you might not like that you see in your family, or that you might like that you see in your family. That's the first thing, is reflecting and just coming into a consciousness of there is a curse or a fault that you have that runs through your gene. And just sitting back and observing is the one thing. The next thing, investigating. How do you investigate? Write down things that you see in yourself and your family. Go to your mom's house, your aunt's house, your dad's house, your family member house, and observe and write down things that you might see in them that you might be like, wow,
That's
that's,
how I say do it.
or wow, why Uncle Ray always drinking, so, and I'm drinking.
Sit
And
in a corner
so,
and give them the.
yeah. So really it's stepping back and really observing what your family traits are and writing that thing down, and just being honest with yourself. And so one of the things we find out is, with growth, a lot of people don't want to investigate themselves, look at themselves. They rather look at others, they rather push it away, but just look at what it is that your family and you are doing, and write down that thing that you find that is the same. Okay, so now the next thing is, like I said, writing it down, writing down what it is that you see. And the reason that's important is because you want to have some kind of tracking list, something that you can look at and see the good and the bad. Now, there's in a generation, there's positive things and negative. So just don't focus on just the negative, also the positive things. So there's a balance. So you want to look at all the things that your families are doing. So write that thing down. All right, T, what you have to say?
So I wanted to get into, we said observe it, recognize it, but let's get into what the it really is. So the it can be an array of things that that's just a part of you. Like I know for me personally, my attitude can stink, okay? Pray for my husband because my attitude is trash. And it's just always been that way. It's always been that way. And I cry about it. I pray about it. I don't understand why. Where did it come from? And, I'm not going to point any fingers. But
Get it from my mama.
yeah, it was actually so weird that we were going to talk about generational curses, and I'm descended from my mom. This is my mother, and I'm a descendant from her. So everything in my DNA comes from her and my father. It's a two-part story, but it's a one-part fold. It all
Right.
comes from my parents. And I was like, well, this is going to be awkward. So we can actually get into what the it is that passes down. I have attitude, I have mental health, like as far as depression, negative thinking, all of these things I have to combat on a regular basis. And I have no idea why. It's like, why am I like this? And then you literally have to take a step back and reflect and analyze,
Correct.
self-evaluate. And I had to say, are these things that I want to continue to take with me? And I
Correct.
have a child. So are these things that I want my daughter to take with her on her journey? Are these things that I want her to pass down to her kids and to keep going through generation to generation? Or do I want it to stop here with me? So when we talk about analyzing it, observing it, it's really observing you, observing yourself, observing your shortcomings that you realize came from something outside of yourself that have been going on and on and on, and no one has said, hey, this is cray cray, let me put a pause button on it. So we're literally talking about, when we say observe it, analyze it, stop it, it's stopping that thing that's been going on and on and on that people have been allowing to occur in your households. Okay, so whatever it is in your household that is a no-no, whether it's domestic violence, whether it's alcoholism, whether it's a drug addiction, whether it's anything bad, talking to your kids, whether it's potty mouth, cursing is something that's passed down from generation to generation, whether it's health issues, diabetes, heart congestive failure, all of that is passed down from generation to generation. And you can literally take the time to make the decision to say, it stops with me. Whatever the it is for you, it stops with you. And this is exactly what my mother is talking about, how we're going to recognize that and how we're going to obliterate it. So go ahead, you can continue.
Yeah, so like Nicole was saying, the things we have to do is look at that. So I'm going to talk about myself, just like Nicole. In our family, we do have attitude. We are very fast in responding to others that we're not pleased with. And so that's one of the things that we inherited. Definitely on the branch of my tree is the depression part of it, which is something that we battle with, which is something that I have seen within my family. And I've seen it in different levels. And so those that have not combated and those that acknowledge and aware and do not want to have this thing on them, which is the depression. So I see that, so some of the things I'm going to talk about that's in families and people sort of push it under the rug is a lot of sexual abuse, sexual molestation. Those are things that it's in our what we call our generational curse that the taboo of no one wants to talk about.
It's in the bag.
It's exactly. And this is important because to become a better person, to grow, to be a better you, to take that bag off, you have to acknowledge that there are things that are little dirty secrets in everybody's house.
What do they say? Skeletons in the closet.
Skeletons in the closet. It's time to get those skeletons out.
Clean your closet.
And clean your closet, honey. Clean it good too, with the bleach and everything.
So make sure it stays clean.
Yeah, and make sure it stays clean. So the thing is, really looking at yourself and being honest with you about what's going on in your past, what's going on in your family. So those are some of the things. So I'm going to read some other real quick, if you don't mind, Nicole,
No,
some
go
other
ahead.
things. Some of the generational curses are false religion. Okay. Physical disease, like Takoa says, the cancer, the diabetes, the lung disease, those types of things that are affecting us, especially in the African
African
American,
American community.
um, yeah,
And
families.
we think it's just hereditary. That's what they tell us, but it's only hereditary because we allow it to continue because of our diet, because
Yeah.
of the way we live, because of our lack of exercise. That is why it's considered hereditary, but really it's
Hmm.
not. It's just a life choice that we're making
Correct.
continually, on a day-to-day basis.
Rebellion. Um, that's me. She
Like that's too, see? Apple don't fall too far from the tree,
emotional
y'all.
issues. And again, the emotional issues, it sort of piggybacks with the mental health part of it.
Yes.
Um, Cursing, and we're not going to say nobody's name, but that runs in my side of my family on my mama's side.
Like a
So,
sailor. Mm-hmm.
so fears, um, possessiveness, anger, and that's one of the things. And I'm gonna say this. We've heard people say angry black angry women, or uh
The
anger.
stereotype. Yeah.
Yeah, stereotype.
I am
and
very angry.
and anger runs in the family,
Through our
for
DNA.
various reasons, and I can relate to why, but it's still a generational curse.
Yeah, and actually,
It's still.
scientific fact, we still have the DNA from our ancestors who were slaves embedded in us. So that is
Mhm,
that shows you how real this thing is.
mhm,
Yep.
mhm.
So whatever they were dealing with, that fear, that trauma, the
Anger.
rebellion, the anger, the resentment, all of that still
Mhm.
stems in our DNA.
So regarding this,
So you
so
said possessiveness, and is that like control issue kinda? Is that like
it is control. It's hold on a second, baby. Greed, jealousy, laziness, gambling,
uh-huh.
stinginess, hoarding,
Oh,
stealing,
they got some juicy stuff in there.
poverty,
Poverty is definitely one
and
of them. That's a mindset. That's passed
indebtedness. And
down.
I know that's part of some of the things that we've in our generation, that generational, what we call baggage, is poverty. Struggling to make ends meet, raising our kids in our generational curse, which is something that we all battle with and are trying to overcome that, so that we won't pass that down to the next generation.
Yes. And I will say that poverty is a mindset, but a lot of us, we see our mom went to work and got a 9 to 5. Even if you didn't cut it, you couldn't pay all the bills. That is what you did. So I'm going to go to
Hmm.
work and I'm going to get a 9 to 5. And even
Hmm.
though it's not making all my ends meet, it's all I know. So that's why I say poverty is a mindset. Until you can outthink your current situation, you won't evolve. Okay. So you have to outthink your current situation, outthink what your mom was doing, and most entrepreneurs know you have to invest and spend money to make money, right?
Correct,
And a
correct.
lot of times we're living paycheck to paycheck, and we're in such fear because that's been passed down to us from generation to generation of
Hmm.
spending money. We don't think we can. We don't think we can afford to invest. We think we have to, use every penny on this. And another thing is that comes from the poverty mindset. We spend a lot of money. We don't save it, we don't hold on to it, we get it and we let it go. We don't
Yep.
respect money. You get it, you let it go. You get it, you let it go. I
In
need to
the
buy
wrong
some
places.
clothes. Girl, keeping up with the Benjamins or the Johnsons. Who we keeping up
It's the
with?
Jones girls, the
Keeping
Jones.
up with the Jones, y'all. Keeping up with the Benjamins, the Johnsons. We keeping up with all of them. And
Yes,
it ends up being detrimental because you're not using your money financially well. You're not using a financially wealthy mindset when it comes to your money.
correct,
So if you think
correct.
poverty, you'll be in poverty. If you think wealth, then you'll attract wealth. And
Attract
that's
wealth, yeah.
learned from generation. What is it? Nature versus nurture. What you learn from your family versus what you learn from the world.
Yep,
You have to pick and choose what you want to keep and what you want to let go.
yes, true.
So definitely, it's definitely a thing. And I think, it's when we, what did you say, observe?
Mm-hmm.
Once you observe, so you have to sit still within yourself, like you said, meditate, journal. You have to sit
You have to.
still, yes, and realize. I say when people, how can you see a generational curse? I was just telling my mother, I'm gonna sit back in a room and watch my family and say, oh,
Yeah.
she was,
Yeah.
oh, that was nasty. That was shiesty. Oh, okay. Well, this person over there on their fifth cup of alcohol and they tipsy. Okay, this person is getting aggressive. Okay, so-and-so dispute a couple lies.
Mm-hmm.
Pick up on what it is your family does. And then you have to sit back and watch yourself. Sit back
Exactly.
at the end of the night, sit back. Oh, I was gossiping up a storm about so-and-so. Or I was, I lied a few times, my bad. Or sit back and watch yourself and judge accordingly to yourself. If you want to be a better person, then you have to take that initiative to judge yourself, and you
Correct.
should judge yourself now, because God is going to judge you later. So you might as well get ahead of the game and fix it now,
Yeah,
right?
because he holds us individually accountable for our actions. And the
Uh-huh.
true fact is we can't blame no one else for our outcome. It might have started out dirty, but it's up to us to clean that thing, to get rid of that thing,
Exactly.
to unload that baggage, to have the desire and the want to be a better us, a better person, a better individual, and to let go of these curses that we've been carrying through our lives. So
And
it's definitely important.
that's why I wanted to change it from calling it a curse, because a curse kind of sounds like something you can't shake. It sounds like something that's just with you since birth and it'll be with you till you die. And I wanted to call it baggage, generational
Yeah,
baggage. My grandma didn't pass down her purse to you and you didn't pass it down to me. And I'm going to say, I don't want this old bag anymore. I'm
correct.
going to sit it down. So I want it to be something that's very replaceable. It's very removable. It's not something that's attached or like a cloud over our head, because that's kind of what
Mm-hmm.
curse does, that word. So let's call it generational baggage, generational, stuff,
Mm-hmm.
generational crap. We just poop it out and leave it where it's at, okay?
Where is that?
So, yeah, we have to learn to focus on the words we use too. So I don't want it to be a generational curse that I have and my mom has it and my kids are going to have it. No,
And
we're
I'll
going to
never
say,
overcome it.
yeah, and I'll never overcome it, because that
That's a lie.
curse is such a strong word behind it. So I'm going to give it a weaker word and we're just going to call it a bag.
Bag where you
Yeah,
can let it drop one and pick up another,
drop it, drop it,
and
drop it.
pick up a better one.
Yeah, we're gonna call it it's one of them cheap paper bags too. It's not even a reusable tote, okay? It's a paper bag. After a while, it's gonna have holes in it anyway, and you're not even gonna want it anymore. You're not gonna want it. It's not even a good bag. It's not even a good one. So, and we're gonna take the good things and put it in our bag. Like I know
Yes.
with your family, they don't really suffer from substance abuse. Like
No.
I don't, but on my father's side, that is something. My father drinks alcohol like a fish, okay? And
Mm-hmm.
on my mom's side, casual drinkers, no one, in the older ages really
The
smokes
older ages,
cigarettes.
not the newer generation.
No, that's an amazing thing. So really look at the good and look at the bad.
Look at the bad.
Yeah, and this is something that's good for if you're thinking about getting married, honey.
Check the family.
Honey, if you're thinking about having children, honey, if you're
Meet the
even thinking about
family.
buying a dog with somebody, honey, please sit back at the family cookout and just, ooh, it gets scary. It gets scary. Just observe, okay? Let's put on our big old eyes and let's
Uh-huh.
just sit back and observe a little bit, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Don't even start with your family. It's always easier to judge other people. Start with somebody else's family and look
And
at
then
them.
take it over to yours.
And then take the same thing over to yours, okay? So, honey,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
We didn't know this was going
It's
to turn into marriage advice, but honey,
it's important. I mean, it does. It does. The bloodline,
important. It's
generational baggage
important.
is real.
It's
So
important.
you want to make sure that you're just looking at that thing and you want to heal that thing.
And
You want
now that I'm thinking about it, the royal families, they all come from the same bloodline pretty much.
to. Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if they knew something that we didn't. I know they're trying to keep the bloodline pure per se, but I wonder if they were aware of generational curses, or we can't be with them because they got some crazy stuff going on. Their uncle was a serial killer and we can't have that. I'm wondering
We're
if
going
they
to deal with
kind of
our
knew.
crazy. We
Yeah.
want to deal with our
We
own
want to deal
crazy.
with our pure crazy because we know our crazy. So I wonder if they were on to something with that. That just, I'm gonna do some research later on. But
To see, you go
yes.
ahead
So
and
go
then
ahead
let
and
us know.
give us our so what do we do? Give us our things again. Let's reiterate. What is it that we're
Okay,
supposed to be doing?
so number one, reflect.
Reflect.
Hold on. No, recognize and reflect. So recognizing that there is a curse, there is a baggage that you're carrying that you need to let go of, or you need to hold on to. Again, there's a positive, negative.
That's good.
The next thing is investigate. Investigate, sit back and just observe your family, the way they act, the way they interact, the way they speak to each other, and then write that thing down, and then observe how you're reacting or you're acting as similar to them, so that's one of the things. And then identify the way you want your behavior. How do you, when you see this thing that you might not like, how do you want to change it? How do you want to get rid of it? What do you want to do with this thing? Like, do I want to always have an attitude? Do I always want to lie? Do I always want to be a smoker, a drinker? Look at that thing, acknowledge it, and then what do you want to do with it? You want to drop that bag.
Be real with yourself.
You want to drop that bag, but you have to be real. And again, a lot of people don't want to be real with themselves. It's very important that you're real with yourself.
It hurts. It's not fun.
It hurt, but you just walking around like it's not real it's not real. It's just not real. Yeah, just not real. Be real with yourself. To thy own self be true.
Amen.
And there is something about that is so real. You have to really look at yourself and say, hey, I got the problem. Where did I get this from? And it's a self-reflect. And I don't want this on me anymore. And you got to do something about it. Is it easy? No. But it's possible. That's the key. It's possible. If you want to get rid of those old bags through your family generation, it's possible, but it takes work. So those are the things. So tracking it down, writing, getting a journal, write that stuff down. What do you see during the week? Hey, you know what? I felt bad about myself. I felt a little down. I feel like I'm a little depressed. Or, you know what? I told a lie today. I cursed so-and-so out today. Write that thing down so that you can have something that you can sort of look at and you can see what you're having in common with some people in your family.
Yeah, and talk to them. If you're blessed to still have your parents around, if you're blessed to have your grandparents around, if you're blessed to have cousins, uncles, sit down and talk to them. And because I know I was interviewing one lady and she had told me she was diagnosed with bipolar, and she went to her mother and told her mother, and then her mother was like, oh, me too. Well, when was you gonna tell me? I was like, what? She was like, they were best of friends. She never knew her mom had secrets necessarily, but her mom had got diagnosed years ago, and here she is struggling, trying to find out what's wrong with her, who she is, and why she is the way she is. And her mother had the answers the whole time. She was keeping it in her bag, and she didn't even let her know. So go address them. Hey, I've really been dealing with depression. Do you know anybody in the family who's been dealing with that? Did they overcome it? How are they doing now? And it's good to know, like your brain likes to identify things and make connections and know. So then you don't feel like you're crazy. Then you know what it is and you know how you can battle it. We can't go to battle unless we know what we're dealing with. And that's why you have to identify it. Put a name on that thing. I'm dealing with blah, blah, blah. I have diabetes. How am I going to attack this situation? Don't keep ignoring it because it'll get out of control. You have to put a name on it, realize what it is for what it is, and then make an attempt to fight that. Don't even make an attempt.
An effort.
We're going to fight that thing.
We're going to fight that thing.
Yeah, we're going to fight it, and we're going to defeat it, and we're going to overcome it. Okay? So, yeah, definitely put a tag on it.
Correct. So, though that's good. That's good because I know with my family, it was like you was talking about that lady. It was the depression And I had spoken to my uncle on my father's side, and he was like, yeah, this comes from my mother. And I'm like, whoa, okay. So there is some baggage that has been carried through from generation to generation with that. But if I wouldn't have stopped and asked, then I would be, you look like, oh, it's only me. I'm the one that's affected with this. Okay, I'm carrying this crazy bag that I'm the weird one.
Yeah.
I'm the different one.
Yeah.
Where no, it's actually been been handed down. You've seen that thing. It's in you. You were around that thing and you picked that thing up.
Yep.
And so yeah, so that's very good, is to sit with your family and talk to them. And you'll find out that there's a story behind everything.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
so you'll start getting to understand why and how and what you do, good or bad.
yeah. And you said a good thing is you pick that thing up.
Mm-hmm.
When you was born, that stuff might have been in you, but you ain't have to choose it. You didn't have to activate it. Nobody told you to start drinking.
Yeah.
Nobody told you to start cussing. Nobody told you to start fighting in the streets. You
Mm-hmm.
chose that. You picked that bag up. And just as easy as you picked it up, you can put it down. It's
Yeah.
not as easy because some of the things we picked up, we had in our bags for years. Okay, so we're working on years of
Yeah.
changing our habits, years of changing our mindset, years of emotional baggage. And it's not that easy to put down, but you have to make the decision that I'm going to put this thing down and leave it where it is. And I'm going to be consistent in pursuing my happiness and my fulfillment of being a better person so that I could break this curse. Okay. So yeah, when you said pick that thing up, you picked it up. It's
Yep.
not something that nobody was like forcing you. You have to be depressed. You have to. No, it's something that was already in you, but you leaned into it.
You leaned into it.
Yes.
Correct. You leaned into it.
Yeah, I
So,
think that's a
and
good thing because you can't blame mommy and daddy for everything. We can't blame mommy and daddy. We have to take control over the things that we've decided to do in our day-to-day lives. Every
own
day you
that
wake up
thing.
and make a choice. Yep, take control. Take control of your actions. Take responsibility. It's your fault. I'm sorry. It's my
Yeah.
fault. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to me. Sorry, not sorry, because I got to get it together, right? So
Correct.
it is what it is. Let's get
It
the moving. Let's get it.
So yeah, so I know we could do this. It takes work. It takes constant work. It's easy to start something, twice as hard to stop. But it's possible. And I just want to, encourage you all. Let's put the bag down and change this for our kids, for our grandkids, for our family. Let's break this chain
Mm-hmm. For ourselves, for a
for
better world.
ourselves.
It literally starts with us.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I'm the change.
Yep. Be the change you want to see in the world. That is definitely a thing. It starts with
Yeah.
each individual. Once you're better, you will encourage someone else to be better, and then it will keep going and going. Your children will be better, and the world will be better. But it all starts with us. Taking that
Starts with you.
responsibility. Yep. Yep. So I
Yeah.
think that's it. We're reaching our 30-minute mark. Thank you for joining us all for our topic of generational curses, or we're going to call it generational baggage that we are leaving behind.
Yep. Who?
Yeah, drop the bag, okay? Just drop it. Drop it. Wherever you at. Not at random train station and airports, because we know that's sketchy and you could go to jail for stuff like that. But definitely drop it, okay? Definitely get rid of it. So thank you for
You
joining us
deserve it.
for tea time, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, and we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Peace.